Hello. Thank you all for tuning in. I'm Dana Claiborne, language arts tutor. And today I am focusing on another lesson. This is an introduction to persuasive essays. So, a very mainstream format that students are usually introduced to often in middle school. I usually share persuasive essays with students a little bit earlier, but this is a very important essay style to learn because um, students often have assignments in school that require them to work through one, or you could have, as I probably mentioned on the personal expository video, you could have an application essay that could be persuasive. And so it's just good to know how to do them. To do these, I'm going to switch over to my guide, which is a PowerPoint version of the lesson that I use to show this and do this exposure with students in session. So let's go ahead and get right over. And that is number 2. Let me switch over to and I'm on with us. Good. So an introduction to persuasive essays. Today I'm just focusing on the interior, which is the middle of the persuasive essay writing format. And so I'm not talking too much about introduction or conclusion paragraphs. This is just for the body paragraphs in the middle. And so we're just talking about outlining and preparing to write the interior. Okay. So first thing that you need to know is what the format of it looks like. You have the introduction, okay, which is the first paragraph, and then you have 3 body paragraphs. Each of them are built around what we call topic sentences. So we're going to talk about those. That's for the outline, and then of course a conclusion paragraph. Okay, so that is the format of the essay in total, and we're going to be talking about how to get ready to write the interior of the essay. So I use a sample, and this is the allowance prompt that I normally use to share these principles with students as they begin to get their first kind of practice with persuasive essays. The allowance prompt, and it's just good to look at a sample. It says, many parents give their children an allowance, however, some choose not to do so. Both choices are considered to be socially acceptable. Explain what you think parents should do and why. So here is a typical persuasive writing assignment asking you your opinion, and that's the way persuasive essays will be. You're asked your opinion about a particular issue, and your outline and your response to this prompt request or question is going to be an opinion-based response. And so always want to emphasize that you don't argue fact, you argue opinion, but opinion should be based on fact. Maybe we'll talk more about that soon. Okay, so the first thing we need is an outline. All right, an outline. I make it simple. Different teachers might, or different instructors might have what they consider their own criteria for an outline. But for me, a persuasive outline simply consists of a thesis statement, which means the main idea that you're going to argue in response to what you're asked, and then 3 topic sentences. And 3 topic sentences are all reasons why the thesis is true. And so if you're writing a persuasive outline, I say that's all you need. A thesis statement, which means the main idea you're going to argue, and topic sentences, which are reasons why that thesis is true. So they asked us the question of what should be done about the whole allowance situation, right? Should children get an allowance? Should they not? So our thesis has to respond to that. And it says children, this is just a sample thesis, children should be required to work to receive an allowance. Okay, so that is the idea that we're going to discuss throughout the entirety of the essay. That's that main idea that we're trying to persuade you to believe. And so we got to have 3 topic sentences, which are reasons why that thesis is true. Okay, well, the first thing I let students know are the rules, what I call outlining rules, because it's very important that your outline be written very, very well. because it's the infrastructure of your essay. If I call it the skeletal system, if it's the bones. So if the skeletal system is kind of out of whack, then everything that's on top of it and that connects to it is also likely going to be deformed. Maybe not the best example now that I think about it, but you get the idea. Likely, your outline needs to be written very well because it's going to be the infrastructure or the structure by which the rest of your ideas are built in the interior of the essay. So rules, couple little rules that I give to students that I want them thinking about, that I'll give to you, that I want you to think about as you begin writing your outline. First is that the thesis and topic sentences must be completely worded. And so the question could arise, what does it mean to be completely worded? What does that mean? Well, it just means that all the words necessary to say the idea are there and included. And the way you can determine whether or not it's not completely worded, or whether or not it's missing words, is you say to yourself, would somebody understand what this idea is saying even if they had never read the writing assignment before? Okay, so this thesis right here says children should be required to work to receive an allowance. You would know what that's talking about even if you had never read this writing assignment asking you what should happen about the allowance situation. Just looking at this idea here in green, it says children should be required to work to receive an allowance. Just looking at that idea right there by itself and nothing else, that idea alone, you would understand what that means, what that was referring to. Okay, but I've seen thesis statements that look like this. The bad one, it says they should have to work, and that's all it says. Well, I asked the question, do you know what that means? And if I ask that question in session, students will be like, well, yeah, I guess. And yeah, you know what that means. You do know what that means. But the reason you know what that means is because you read this writing assignment. Right here. Let me put that up. Right here. You read this writing assignment. But if you had never read this writing assignment, and all you saw was this sentence that just says, let's just say, and I give that illustration, let's just say you're taking a road trip from Virginia to Florida, and in the middle of South Carolina, you look out the window and you look out and you see a billboard and it just has this sentence written on it that says they should have to work, and that's all you see. Well, would you know what that's talking about? Not likely. And so that's because it's not completely worded. So the question becomes, what causes it to be completely worded? Well, first of all, who does this they refer to? Well, you want to avoid starting your sentences with vague pronouns like they. Okay? So they, who does they refer to? Well, they refers to the children. But even if I say children should have to work, even that is not enough. Why? Because the topic of my prompt is allowance, right? And notice I didn't even mention the word allowance in this thesis at all. So I'm just going to put children should have to work to receive an allowance, and that fixes it. Okay, that causes it to be better, and it resembles the good thesis now. So just showing the difference between a good thesis and a bad thesis, very important that the thesis statement and topic sentences too are completely worded. We'll talk more about that. But the second rule that I share with students, when just very important thing to be thinking about when drafting your outline, when writing your outline, is that all three of your topic sentences must be completely different from each other, and completely worded as well. We'll talk about that. But they have to be completely different from each other, and of course, without padding. We'll talk more about padding, perhaps in another lesson. But it's very, very important that topic sentence ideas be all different. Why? Well, just a reminder what a topic sentence is. It's a reason why to support the thesis, but it's also the main idea of a body paragraph. So there's 3 body paragraphs in the middle, and you want to have 3 topic sentences. Each one is one idea for one body paragraph. So what could happen if you have topic sentences that all mean or say essentially the same thing? Well, that means you're going to end up with body paragraphs that all essentially say or mean the same thing, because each topic sentence is the main idea of one body paragraph. And so one body paragraph built around a topic sentence, second body paragraph built around another topic sentence, and then the third body paragraph built around another topic sentence. And so it's very important that the topic sentences say and mean something entirely different so that your ideas do not overlap. And what often happens is kids have fallen prey to this when trying to write their outline. They'll think an idea is different than another one because it uses different words. But when it kind of all boils down, it ultimately means the same thing. Or one topic sentence idea is the reason or cause and effect for another, and that also causes ideas to overlap. And so you have to be careful about that, recognizing when an idea ultimately means or says the same thing as another one. So here's a sample right here. We just finished saying children should be required to work to receive an allowance. So remember, topic sentences are reasons why the thesis is true. Reasons why children should be required to work to receive an allowance. So this first topic sentence says one reason why they should be required to work to receive an allowance. So it says working to receive an allowance is a great way to help them learn accountability. Okay. So, working to receive that allowance will help the children learn how to be accountable. Okay. So that is one idea that supports this thesis that says children should be required to work to receive an allowance. Now, if we look at the second topic sentence, it says if students work, well, I guess that could say children. I'll just put children. If children work to receive an allowance, they will be used to keeping track of the money they earn. Okay. Now, on the surface, a student would look at these 2 topic sentences and say, okay, I got 2 topic sentences. But in actuality, they both refer to the same thing. Even though they use different words, they both refer to the same idea. Keeping accountability, and keeping track mean the same, essentially mean the same thing. And so it's just critical to recognize, when I go to write the body paragraph, am I really going to be saying something different than what I'm saying in this paragraph? Okay, in this case, these 2 paragraphs would overlap. And so it's just important that each topic sentence be distinctly different. So, to help with that, let me get back here. To help with that, I have students consider this little 3-word principle. Consider all involved. And I'm going to talk more about that as we get to it. But it's just important. It's just important that the topic sentences all be distinctly different from each other. Okay? Now, the second rule pertaining to topic sentences specifically is the same as the rule pertaining to the thesis statement, which is that they have to be completely worded. Okay? Topic sentences can be written poorly as well if all the words necessary to say the idea are not included. So it says, while working to receive an allowance, the children will be helping their parents. Okay, that's a good topic sentence. That's a good reason why. But if I just say they will be helping their parents, well, all the words necessary to say that idea are not there. So we got to make sure that we have all the words necessary to say the full idea. Notice allowance is not included in this bad version of the topic sentence. Okay. Notice we used another vague pronoun like they to start the topic sentence. Got to avoid that. Okay. We got to say who the they are, and we got to make sure we include the main topic word inside the topic sentence. Just very important. Okay, so we're gonna look at a sample here, and I'm just gonna blow this up just a little bit. Okay, and so the thesis, just reminding ourselves of what the outline entails. Let's go 150%. The thesis says children should be required to work to receive an allowance. And I like to put a little invisible because here, just to make sure that the topic sentences I chose are actual valid reasons why. Okay, so I'm just going to kind of measure each topic sentence by putting it behind this little word because. This word because. So it says children should be required to work to receive an allowance because, and the first topic sentence says, while working to receive an allowance, children will learn to work hard in the future. Okay, that one fits. That's the reason why. Children should be required to work to receive an allowance because, and the second topic sentence says, while working to receive an allowance, the children will be helping their parents. Okay, so that's another valid reason why. And then the third topic sentence says, children should be required to work to receive an allowance because, and then the third topic sentence down here at the bottom says, working to receive the allowance will teach the children to appreciate money. So notice we have three topic sentences and a thesis statement, of course, but three topic sentences that are all distinctly different from each other and that are all completely worded. That's how you want yours to be. That's how you want your thesis and topic sentences to look when you are writing your persuasive outline, so that you can smoothly build the remainder of your essay around these key ideas. Okay, so I said I would come back to this principle here. I found that many students usually have no trouble coming up with the thesis statement. Usually it's pretty easy, right, to decide what idea you're going to argue. But sometimes students have battled to come up with different topic sentences because the topic sentences have to be different. They cannot be the same. And so to help with that, I have students use this little 3-word principle. And I'll say it to you to also consider this little 3-word principle: consider all involved. And so what does that mean? What does it mean to consider all involved? Well, it just means to consider who all is affected by the decision you're making, or who could be involved in the decision you're making, for the sake of coming up with different subjects to focus on for your topic sentences. Because if you have different subjects to focus on for your topic sentences, then you can write topic sentences about each subject, and emphasizing each subject, one subject being different from another, that's going to automatically cause your topic sentence ideas to be different so that they don't overlap, because it's so important that you avoid that overlap when you're writing your outline. So, for example, if I ask the question of who is affected by the decision of whether or not children get an allowance, who's affected by the decision of this prompt request that's being asked or requested, who's affected by the decision of whether or not children get an allowance. And there's always an obvious focus group. And in this case, if I ask that question, you would tell me who's affected by that. Obviously, the children are. Okay, the children are affected by that decision. But then I would ask you, okay, well, are the children the only ones affected by that decision? And then you would tell me no. You would say the parents are also affected by the choice of whether or not children get an allowance. So that allows me two different subjects to focus on right there. Okay, I can write one topic sentence or a couple topic sentences, if I can think of them, about the children. And then I can write more about the parents if I want to. So just keeping that in mind. And that's kind of what we did a little bit on this sample here. It says, while working to receive an allowance, children will learn to work hard in the future. Well, this topic sentence is focusing primarily on children. This one is about them. But if you look at the next topic sentence, it says, while working to receive an allowance, the children will be helping their what? Parents, right? So this, even though it mentions the children, the emphasis is on the parents. So what we're doing is we're just kind of shifting the focus to who it affects. And doing that allows me to divide my train of thought and write different ideas of support for my thesis. And that's what you need, okay? So hopefully this principle, consider all involved, and these outline rules will help you get started successfully building strong outlines that you can write persuasive essays around. All right? Okay. Switching back to that. All right. Hopefully that is pretty self-explanatory. Well, I guess I won't say self-explanatory. Hopefully I have explained that well to you, I hope. And hopefully you have no trouble practicing writing strong persuasive outlines. That's what this is for. That's what this whole effort and lecture is about. So feel free to let me know questions you have, if you need resources. I'm working on a way to get those to you all. I'm still kind of navigating my way around this whole thing, but I am working on it, so bear with me. In the meantime, let me know any questions, any commentary. Thank you all again for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.